Fair Play is like Uncut Gems meets Succession.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
Hey guys, welcome back to the video. So I just got to watch Fair Play from the Sundance Film Festival, and in this video, I'm gonna give you guys my spoiler-free review. This film is an erotic thriller following a young couple's unraveling relationship following an unexpected promotion at a cutthroat hedge fund. Now, before we get into all of my thoughts on Fair Play, if you're new around here and you enjoy all my movie and TV show reviews, reactions, and breakdowns, so make sure to subscribe by notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a new video or go live. Both always same more time. Let's get right into it. Now, a lot of the movies premiering at the Sundance Film Festival don't actually have a release date, but Fair Play actually got bought out by Netflix after its first day premiering at the Sundance Film Festival. And as you can see on screen right now, it did get sold to Netflix for $20 million. And one of the quotes that's in the article really stuck out with me, where they do say it's one of the rare Sundance films that could totally break through in the real world, he wrote. In an age where movies like Tar and The Fabelmans have struggled, that makes it a special commodity. Now, I am about to get into my full thoughts on Fair Play, but I do have to say, I think that this could be one of those movies that really surprises everyone that's just dropped onto Netflix. Like I said in the very beginning of this video, I will make direct comparisons to Uncut Gems involving this movie and just a bunch of other high psychological thrillers that make you feel uncomfortable and will make your heart just beat out of your chest. But with that being said, I want to start off my thoughts on the movie by talking about the general themes that this movie does tackle, and I just love the commentary that this movie makes on breaking down gender dynamics in our society. I think when a lot of movies tackle it, it's just too cliche. It's also a thing with just being very modern in your movies, and I think this movie tackles it in a way that it feels natural since we're already following this relationship, and the way that they go about it in this movie and just actually get us invested in the relationship first and then throw in these breaking down the gender dynamics aspects. The way that we're introduced to this story and we really get into it, I really like that the first 30 minutes isn't just throwing these super bad things into our face about these people. We're learning to actually like them, like their dynamic, like them as a couple, like them as business partners. We like everything about these people, and then we start to see the bad side, and then we can start to see what they're actually like and what they really value, and whether one side is wrong or right. I definitely think that's up to the audience. They obviously lean more towards one character, and I'm assuming you know who that is without giving anything away, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, and the way that they go about it is really, really interesting. I do think near the end of the movie, there's one thing that feels very manipulative on one side of the relationship, but if you say that that person is wrong, then, or they made a mistake or something like that, then that gets you into trouble. So I feel like it is a little bit more manipulative on the case that they play with your feelings a little bit in regards to gender dynamics and what you think and what society wants you to think and stuff like that. But as a whole, I think they do a pretty good job with balancing it, as well as just telling an absolutely masterful story. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, because this story is crafted so well. The main thing that I want to talk about here is just the intense pacing that this movie has. Like I said before, they start off the movie very, very slow, and you actually get to understand these characters. You get to understand this relationship, and that's what I love so much about the movie. And the way that they pace it just throughout this runtime, they really help you understand not only, again, dynamics in their relationship at home and the boundaries that they set at home, but also boundaries that are set outside of their home life and just stuff like, again, I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot of boundaries set, and you start to kind of understand, and you see everything unfold, unravel a little bit at times. And again, I just really love that evolution that they created. And to say this movie is intense is an understatement. It's thrilling, it's scary, it's also sad. There's just so many catalytic moments. I think that's the right word. There's so many things that are like a catalyst for our story to just explode. And I really just love the way that they slowly insert these little bombs into the story. And it's just a ticking time bomb. And you know that it's going to blow up in the audience's face. And you know that something crazy is going to happen. But that wait, that 10, 9, 8, you know something crazy is just going to happen, and you're waiting for it, and your heart is just beating out of your chest. I'm going to get to the performances at the end of this video, but I do want to say that it's such a sad story, but it's also such a thrilling story at the same time that you can't help but be like, what's next? Like, what's going to happen to this character? I know it's bad, but I want to see it and my eyes are glued to the screen. I personally I had to hit pause at one point because I had to get up to do something. And the entire time I was doing that thing, my heart was racing. I was scared for what was going to happen next, but I was also excited and anticipating what was about to happen. It was like a little intermission in the worst possible moment because I knew something crazy was about to happen because of a catalyst that they created or just a little bit earlier in the movie. So again, I just love the way that these ticking time bombs are placed throughout this film, and they really just help you get 100% engrossed into this story, these characters, these relationships, and just every little aspect about what's going on. This movie is classified as a psychological thriller, and I would consider it a psychological thriller, but not in the way that it's like tormenting you or it's something super unsettling. They make the thrills very realistic, but it's more of like a business thrill. Like I said in the beginning of this video, it's a mix of Succession, but also Uncut Gems, even Good Time, pretty much anything the Safdie brothers have made. It's so intense and so thrilling, and you know something bad is going to happen, but you don't know when exactly it's going to happen. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. And there's so many intense moments where you think, oh my God, they're about to wrap it up. And I tried to not look at the runtime as much as possible while I was watching this movie because I felt like it was constantly going to end, but they just piled more and more and more up. But the film never felt like a drag. They had so much story left to tell, but I was like, dude, this is so intense. It has to be the climax of the film. And it wasn't, and they kept going and going and going, and my heart was just beating out of my chest. It was like a scary roller coaster, but with a million loops, not just like one. Additionally, this movie has perfect performances. Phoebe Dynevor, I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. I apologize for that, but Phoebe, amazing actress. She puts on an absolute clinic here. But the one that we all know about from Solo: A Star Wars Story, Alden Ehrenreich, again, I might be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize for that. He is amazing. He is so fun. I mean, so is Phoebe and Alden. They're both great, and their chemistry is just unmatched. They have some insane sequences where it's just two of them in a room, and they're just bouncing off of each other, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's just intense. It's riveting, and again, your heart is just beating out of your chest, and you don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know if they're gonna throw a punch. Like, it's so intense that you think, okay, this is where our character cracks. This is where our character does something that is irredeemable. They cannot go back from this. And in that moment, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. There's so much possibility in your mind as you're going through this film, and it crafts such an amazing environment, and that's 100% due to the performances. There's some side performances they're good, but again, the focus is on these two main actors and actresses, and they are just stellar. I mean, they had me engrossed throughout the entire movie, especially Alden Ehrenreich. There's just one scene at the end of the movie where it's just a very casual conversation, and it really just elevates, and it's one of those scenes where you're like, I know this is going to be a long one. And I know that throughout this scene, like, the tension is going to elevate to something we've never seen in this film before. And that scene did just that. And it did it in such a subtle way. It was such smart writing, and the performances just completely elevate the rest of it. At the end of the day, I love Fair Play. I can see why Netflix picked it up for $20 million. The performances are absolutely incredible. And again, the story is just so thrilling, and it captures you in from the first second to the final second. Overall, I'm going to give Fair Play a 9 out of 10. This is a must-watch movie, and I'm super excited for it to hit Netflix whenever it does, because everyone needs to check this out. The thrills of this movie are absolutely unmatched. If you're excited for Fair Play, let me know in the comments down below what aspect you're most anticipated for. But again, that's all of my thoughts on Fair Play. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.